Welcome back to Paper Things. Today we'll finish the book by reading chapters 40 through 43. Chapter 40, Sheet Music. My presentation on Tuesday goes very well. Instead of using animation or movie clips as I thought I might, I stop my slideshow midway and present a little melodrama, a short old-fashioned play that has lots of scary action, just like the plays that Louisa May Alcott used to perform with her family and like her characters performed in her books. I thought of asking Sasha and Keisha and maybe even Daniel to help me with the performance, but in the end, I decide to play all the parts myself. This time, I'm trying to make my classmates laugh, and I succeed. I knew that I wanted to end my presentation with one of Louisa May Alcott's quotes. At first, I was going to use this one. "Far away there in the sunshine are my highest aspirations. I may not reach them, but I can look up and see their beauty, believe in them, and try to follow where they lead." But finally, I decide on this one. My book came out, and people began to think that topsy-turvy Louisa would amount to something after all. Which didn't remind me of Jana. It reminded me of myself. When my presentation is over, Mr. O pulls me aside to tell me that not only had I done well, but I've also satisfied the requirements for attendance at the 5th grade sleepover. Thankfully, my good citizenship, or lack of, was never mentioned by anyone. On the night of the 5th grade sleepover, droves of kids arrive at Eastland Elementary with sleeping bags in their arms. I've no sooner gotten out of Jana's car when Daniel grabs me. "Are you going to help me free Gerald?" he asks. "No way," I say. "He'd never survive." "Jump from the bleachers?" I don't get a chance to object because at that moment Sasha pulls me away. "Hurry," she says. "The girls are sleeping in the library and we won't get a good spot unless we spread our sleeping bags out now." "Meet me in the art room at 9, Daniel says. Ugh, I think, suspecting what Daniel wants. The art room is close to the polished math hallway. After claiming our place in the mystery section of the library, Keisha, Sasha, and I head to the cafeteria for dinner. The teachers, wearing their own crazy hats, are serving us pizza from boxes tonight. I laugh when I see Miss Finch wearing a hat piled high with birds. I'm at a table surrounded by girls I've known most of my life. We're recalling Eastland memories, laughing at all the silly things that happened over the years. Just as I start to remind everyone of how frightened we were in 1st grade when Smokey the Bear came to school, I hear someone singing. Others hear it too, and we turn to see where the music is coming from. It's Daniel. Of course it's Daniel. He's standing on a bench, trying to lead the entire 5th grade in a chorus of Eensy Weensy Spider, a kindergarten song. No one joins in. I look to the teachers, hoping that they'll stop him. End his humiliation, I think. He'll still get to check off number 5 on his bucket list. They don't stop him, and he moves on to sing 5 Little Monkeys Jumping on the Bed. All 5 verses. A few kids make the hand motions, but none will join in the singing. Daniel looks at me as if to say, "Come on, Ari. I sat in the front hallway behind the crafts table for you. You owe me this." And I do owe him this moment. I know I do. But still, I can't do it. I can't bring myself to sing. Daniel finishes 5 Little Monkeys, and there's silence. I guess everyone is wondering what he'll do next. If I've learned anything this year, it's that Daniel Huber is persistent. He starts to sing Food Group Boogie, and a few kids laugh. A few quiet voices join in. I look over at Sasha to see if she's rolling her eyes. She glances at me, and then without saying a word, she jumps up and starts singing and dancing along with Daniel. Then she gives me the biggest, brightest smile, which says, "I bet you didn't expect this." I sure didn't. Not for a moment. But there's lots that I don't know about Sasha, and lots that she still doesn't know about me. And I make a quick wish that we'll have lots of time together at Carter to learn those things. Her actions are contagious. Food group boogie is just wild enough, just bizarre enough, that everyone in the room eventually gets to their feet to join them, even me. We go from singing Food Group Boogie to If You're Happy and You Know It, and then the Hokey Pokey. Not one student sits out. I catch Hannah's eye across the cafeteria, and we exchange smiles. Daniel reminds all of us that tonight, despite our plans for the future, we are all Eastland Tigers. It's 9 o'clock and I'm nervous. Was Daniel serious about meeting him in the art room? The entire 5th grade class is gathered in the auditorium watching a movie. If I slip out and get caught wandering the halls, I worry that I'll blow any last chance I have of getting accepted to Carter. Still, I feel like I already let Daniel down once tonight, and I don't want to do it again. I get up from my chair in the gym and move toward the back doors, hoping that any teacher watching me will just assume that I'm heading to the girls' room. The halls are dimly lit and totally silent, and I don't mind admitting that I'm afraid. I keep expecting someone to jump out of the shadows and catch me breaking the rules, but no one does. Daniel's in the art room looking at one of the painting books when I walk in. Even though he's expecting me, he jumps. I am not going to slide down the math hallway, I say, and I really don't think Gerald would do well out in the wild. He doesn't respond. Instead, he blushes as he holds out a small, silver-wrapped box. I've given up on the list. For now, he says, but I didn't want you to open this in front of anyone else, in case you hate it. The last thing I expected was a present. It's not my birthday, and even if it were, I wouldn't expect Daniel to get me anything. My fingers shake a little as I open it. Inside the box is a necklace with a little silver snowflake charm, which sparkles like glitter. Holy moly! Thank you, I whisper. It's perfect. Daniel beams. Then he takes hold of my hand and walks me back to the gym. I don't object. Chapter 41. Fortunes. Now it's Monday and the necklace still hangs around my neck. Sasha has dance rehearsals all week, so I'm walking to Head Start alone. It's a warm May day and I'm looking up, taking in the new green leaves, the cloudless sky, when something catches my eye. It's an airplane, a paper airplane, jutting out from a shrub. I gently pull it out and notice that this one's been folded from a report card. No doubt it's one of Reggie's planes and someone must want better grades. In the same way that I used to look for pennies, I'm now looking for planes, and I find them. An airplane in the gutter is folded from a letter. One next to a trash can is folded from a restaurant placemat. It's as if I'm on a treasure hunt and I can't stop looking. Wedged up against a building is yet another tiny plane which has been folded from a dollar bill. For a moment I'm tempted to take this plane, but I don't. I don't want to stop the wish from coming true. All these wishes cast upon the wind. They remind me of my deepest, most precious wish. Maybe I should ask Reggie to fold me a plane from a Carter application. But I no sooner think of the possibility than I decide against it. Here's why. Wishing for one thing will wipe out lots of other possibilities. For example, if 2 months ago I had wished that Sasha and I would be best friends always, I never would have become friends with Daniel, and she never would have befriended Keisha. If I had wished to be patrol leader, I might never have worked so hard to reinstate the Eastland traditions. If I had wished that Gage and I had gotten an apartment, I might be sitting home alone at nights while he went on dates with Chloe and worrying what would happen if he was late or if I locked myself out. And I would definitely be holding Gage back from having his own life and myself from getting to be a kid. So I'm done wishing for something specific. Instead, I'll wait to see what happens next. Chapter 42. Pages. Everyone said that we would get our letters from Carter on Saturday. Mademoiselle Barbary said so. Mariana said so, Jana said so. So imagine my surprise when I get home on Friday and there is the letter on the counter. Even though I can tell that Jana wants me to open it right away, I don't. It's an important moment, and whether I've accepted it or not, Gage should be here with me too. I call Gage, and he promises to hurry over right after work. In the meantime, Daniel calls to say he's been accepted. I didn't even know you applied, I said. Yeah, I know, he says. I wasn't going to, but something changed my mind. Before I can ask him if it was something or someone who changed his mind, he tells me that Keisha posted her acceptance online. I haven't heard from Sasha, and it's making me nervous. When Gage finally arrives, I'm practically jumping out of my skin. I open the letter and read, Dear Ms. Hazard, it is with great pleasure that we offer you a place at Carter Middle School for the next 3 years. Jana cries. I do too. I got into Carter. Despite the dip in my grades and the detention on my record, despite telling the application people about me and Gage's time being homeless, despite not wishing for it on Reggie's plane, despite it all, or maybe really because of it all, I've been accepted. We have a delicious dinner that Jana cooked, knowing that we'd either be celebrating or in need of consoling, and then Gage says that he has a present for me. How come, I ask, realizing that it's the second present I've been given lately for no reason at all. I thought congratulations might be in order. He hands me a wrapped cardboard box, which is so light it feels almost empty. I break the curly ribbon, tear open the paper, and open the box. Inside is a lone L.L. Bean catalog. I start to frown, wondering why he's given me a new catalog for my paper things when I've told him that I no longer play with them. But then I realize that this isn't a new catalog. It's one I've seen before, almost 4 years ago. I open the cover and flip through the pages slowly, my hands shaking. And there he is, Miles, running through the sprinkler. I keep flipping, and there's Natalie in her yellow dress holding her toad, untouched. I lunge at Gage and give him the biggest hug ever. I couldn't stand it that those girls destroyed your paper things, he says. I wish I could replace all of them, but I figured these two were the most important ones. I can't believe you found the same catalog, Jana says. It wasn't easy, says Gage, but I found a woman through Craigslist who had boxes and boxes of catalogs in her garage. You would have been in heaven, Gage tells me, smiling. She was going to recycle them, but she never did. If you're interested, I bet she'd be willing to give you more. I think about his offer, but like wishing on Carter, rebuilding my paper things collection just doesn't feel right. That folder represents a me that no longer exists. I'm not embarrassed of her, but at the same time, I no longer want to be her. I've moved on. Still, I tuck this catalog away, grateful to have Miles and Natalie safe together. Later that night, after Gage has left to go out on a date with Chloe, Jana gives me the scrapbook she's been making in my honor. You're old enough to choose what to include, she says, and immediately I think of the objects that I'll paste inside. Natalie and Miles, a penny or two, my ode to seat cushions, a pipe cleaner left over from Crazy Hat Day, and the script from my Louisa May Alcott presentation. And my Carter acceptance letter, of course. Chapter 43, Diplomas. Having a last name that's neither at the beginning nor the end of the alphabet is cool. At school, whenever we do things in alphabetical order, enough kids go before me that I can prepare, but I don't have to wait my turn forever. So when my name is called at graduation, I am ready. Ariana Jane Hazard, daughter of Nicholas and Georgia Hazard and Jana Delaney, sister of Gage Hazard. Turns out that I had to fill out a form that told the announcer at graduation what to say. I chose to list all the names. I see Gage grinning when they read his name, and I know he's pleased that I put him on the list. I walk to the podium, accept my certificate that says I have successfully completed 6 years of schooling at Eastland Elementary School, and turn to have my picture taken, by the school photographer and by Jana. I now have another photo to put in my scrapbook. Once the ceremony is over, Jana elbows her way up to Mr. Chandler. I think to give him a piece of her mind for how he treated me during the Traditions campaign. But Mr. Chandler breaks into a grin when he sees her, and I overhear him congratulating her on my acceptance to Carter Middle School. "You must be so proud of Ariana," he says. "We certainly are." Jana looks completely flabbergasted, like the wind's been knocked out of her sails. But soon she's grinning too and laughing. I turn away, blushing in embarrassment. But it's a good kind of embarrassment. The best kind. I worry that Sasha has overheard this conversation, but she's left my side and is talking with Linny's family. Sasha was waitlisted, which seems so unfair. I told her that I really hoped she would get into Carter and that maybe she should ask Reggie for a plane. "Actually, I'm not that bummed," Sasha insisted. "I know my mom really wanted me to go to Carter, and I wanted to be with you and Keisha. But I think I can be one of the stars at Wilson." "Sasha, you're already a star," I told her. I'm standing in the hall outside the auditorium with Gage and Chloe when Daniel grabs my hand. "Come with me," he says. I let myself be tugged away. "What is it?" "You've got a promise to keep," he says. "What promise?" "It isn't until we get to the gym doors that I understand." "Now?" I say. "In our caps and gowns?" But I'm laughing because it's even better in our caps and gowns. He pulls me inside. The gym is dimly lit and every sound echoes. I spot a big pile of blue mats tucked into a corner, but the bleachers have all been folded up against the walls. "Looks like we have no way of getting up there," I say, surprised at how disappointed that makes me feel. "Oh no," Daniel says, "you're not getting out of it that easy." He leads me to one end of the folded bleachers and shows me how to climb them like a ladder. I place my hands where he placed his and pull myself up. For some reason, the top of the bleachers feels higher with them folded than it does when they're open. I sit down carefully and scoot on my bottom until I'm at the edge, with my legs dangling over the mats. Daniel, still standing, holds out his hand. "I don't think I can do it," I say, feeling suddenly nervous. "Of course you can. Think of everything you've accomplished this year." He's right. It's been one heck of a year, and if I survived all that, then I can definitely survive this. I take a deep breath, reach up, and let him lift me to a standing position. He looks at me. I look at him. "Ready?" he says. "Ready," I say. We hold hands and jump. And that's the end of Paper Things. I hope you've enjoyed listening. I've enjoyed reading. Be sure to check out this book at the library if you're interested in reading it again or recommend it to a friend.